Well, who's this guy? Welcome to Ask GMBN, the show where we answer all of your amazing questions. Are they amazing? I don't know, but why don't we get into it and find out with question number one that's coming from Neil Donahue.
Here we go. The Land V-Star is his name, or her name. What do you think about cross-training on a road bike?
Oh, personally, it's a no-brainer. It's brilliant fun riding a road bike. It's great. You've been doing it all weekend, haven't you?
I've just said, yeah, didn't ride my mountain bike this weekend, just rode my road bike, just because I didn't have enough time to get my kit together. So for me, it's great cross-training. It's obviously pedaling, but it's just a bit of variety as well. If I ride my mountain bike a lot, I'll maybe jump on the road bike, get some miles in, but
yeah, those GCM boys are onto something. Road biking is actually really good fun, and if you find a skate park and you want to drop in and have some really good fun, then I suggest taking your road bike in because it's hilarious.
wow, I'm not sure I've tried that myself, but yeah, I've seen you do it.
Do it. Right, my first question to you, Neil. Mario BP76. I'm trying to decide whether to get a full face helmet or just have one like Neil or Scotty's. His trail he rides has got steep descents, not tons of uphill, but is it worth getting a full face helmet if basically, I guess what he's asking, if he's not riding like downhill trails?
It's totally personal. I tend to wear my open face helmet for most rides now, but I don't have a downhill bike or anything like that. So totally up to you. You can wear a full face helmet, but they are hot. It will get sweaty if you're pedaling up a hill. So I don't know, probably stick with open face, I'd say.
They do look cool though.
They do.
They do look cool. So maybe do it on that. Oh, any helmet's a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't be a donut. Joe Milnes, how should you maintain your drivetrain after every ride and long term? Also, dry or wet lube?
Oh, Neil, on this question, right, this is asked by Joe Milnes, as you said, but can you answer it to Joe and my son, Alfie Ashton, who doesn't seem to know how to keep his drivetrain clean?
Well, I just take a look at my chain, to be honest, and if it's still all right, you know, clean and lubed, then I'll leave it. But if it's been a wet, muddy ride, I'll definitely do it every single time. So wash it off, a little bit of degreaser, something like that, and then dry it off and lube it back up. And I tend to use dry lube most of the time, but keep on top of it, doing it, you know, every single time. It will wash out in winter, so if you're going on really long rides, sort of 2 or 3 hours, then you might want to start using wet lubes. It'll stick better to your chain.
That was good advice. Do you hear that, Alf? And while we're on the subject of chains, let's have a look at our how to fit a bike chain video.
When fitting your chain to your bike, make sure you thread it through the rear mech the right way, through that cage, and also make sure you're in the highest gear so you've got plenty of slack in the chain. Some tools come with this really handy little sort of wire clip, and that's going to make it much easier when you're trying to use your chain tool, so you can just use that to hold on to the chain, so it keeps your hand free. You've got both hands on your chain tool.
Time for the next question. Melux0701 asks, I've been practicing wheelies for about 2 weeks now, but just can't hold my bike straight. By the way, I train them every day for over an hour. What can he do?
Well, practice obviously isn't the problem. The thing I would say if you're having a bit of problem keeping it straight is you've got to remember your knees are the way you're going to hold your position. So let your knees drop out and then pendulum either side. So if the bike's going over to the left, pendulum over to the right, and then that way you can keep the bike moving in between your knees. And that takes a little bit of getting used to, but that's the thing to practice in your hour-a-day training, and I'm sure you'll get it. And the thing is with a wheelie is you're like, got it. So keep going until you get that moment. You will know.
And it's good fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Another question, 3M1LW1K, that's a confusing name. Do we have any unwritten rules in mountain biking?
Oh, that's a good one. Do you know of any?
Not so much in the UK, but in the US and Canada, you find trails that you can ride both ways. And I do know that you're supposed to give way to the uphill rider. But yeah, other than that, we should have a think about this.
We should look into that one and maybe do a bit of an unwritten rules video.
Yeah, let's do it.
Good question. Okay, next question from Jacob Harkins. Are any of you GMBN hosts pro?
Well, actually, no, but we were. We've all been pros, haven't we?
I don't know how to take that. That's thrown me, Neil. We're going to have to move on to the next question. I'm hurt.
Oh dear.
I'm hurt.
Don't be offended, Martyn.
I'm hurt. My feet hurt and I can't feel them.
Okay, next question. Music Stuff Some. That's a funny name as well. This is more of a suggestion than a question, actually. It says we should have a go on some single speed hardtails.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever ridden a single speed?
Yeah, they're super fun actually. It does, it gives you a different thought on the trails you ride normally. If you just go out on a single speed, and it really transforms the trail, especially if it's something you've ridden a lot.
You must be having to push a pretty hard gear or something.
Yeah, but even on the downhill you notice the difference, because sometimes you're like pushing a big gear and you end up going quicker than you normally would, or the opposite, you're spinning out, and that creates a bit of a problem. But yeah, single speeds are a lot of fun.
Let's do it.
A lot of fun.
Right, Liam Toohey. Are there such things as hybrid pedals that work well, both clipped in and not?
Wow, yeah.
Yeah, actually Crank Brothers make some called the double shot. So it's a flat pedal on one side and a clip on the other. Great for things, you know, like for a bike that you can use for a couple of things, maybe commuting and riding off-road, but I've not tried them actually.
Have to give them a go. Okay, and next question is from Dan, who's he's had a bit of a crash.
Happens to all of us.
So yeah, got a bit of an injury, bulging disc in the lower neck and a bruised spine. Ouch. And basically what he's asking, Neil, is he's going to have a bit of a period off his bike, a few months probably.
Yeah.
In that time, his bike's obviously going to depreciate. He's got a Mondraker Dune. So should he hang on to the bike, wait, or should he get rid of it now so he doesn't lose any money?
It's a tough question. I wouldn't get rid of it because you're going to have to buy another bike, and it's not going to depreciate that much if you're not riding it. So I'll keep it, especially if you haven't ridden it many times.
He does carry on to ask, is he getting a bit old for this stuff? And should he potentially consider giving up mountain biking and potentially starting golf? Well, Dan, we're not going to give that second part of the question any attention, because obviously you should stay mountain biking.
Golf.
One crash does not mean it's not the sport for you. It just means, like we all know, it can be a bit rough at times.
Yeah, we all do it, but hopefully you get well soon and get back on that Mondraker.
Send us a photo.
Right, John Green is asking about making his bike more reliable. He's going for a camping trip and he's limited to what he can take. What are the essentials, basically? Can he make his bike more reliable?
Well, something Phil from just behind the camera suggested is, yeah, getting new tyres. If you're a bit worried about your tyres, that's a good way of, like, they're done.
Yeah, they're less likely to puncture if they're new. They're just a bit more solid. Yeah, I would definitely check the bike over. So things like your chain, make sure that's not just about a snap, it's not worn out. Gear cables, simplest thing, if they break, it can make an easy ride a lot harder, and they're super light to take, so definitely take one of those. Doesn't weigh anything. And you should also check out our video on how to check your bike before you ride.
So it's called the M check. It's dead easy to remember then. Shape of an M on the bike, starting off down at the front wheel. Whatever's keeping that front wheel in is nice and tight. I've got a bolt, so I could check those with an Allen key. If you've got a quick release, definitely check that by hand. I've seen them come out occasionally, so you don't want that.
The quick fire round. Right, first question, Yanni Cabalin. What should I do when I ride over dog poop?
Turn your bike upside down and spin your pedals really quick and see how far you can fling it.
Lovely. Luca Portich, do you think any of you guys could finish the Red Bull hardline?
Yes, I'm going to do it next year.
Yes, I'm not going to do it next year.
Alex Guzman says, what's the difference of 27.5 and 650B GMBN? Thanks.
Nothing, same. Different name for the same thing. Okay. Another part, confusing part of the mountain bike world.
And now for an exclusive, Jay Noyes asks GMBN, can we see the outside of the shed and what it looks like?
Be careful.
They shouldn't fly them helicopters so close. That made me sweat. Time for Correct Me If I'm Wrong.
Right, this video has been sent in by Robertar Sigurdsson from Iceland. He's been riding for 15 years and he's doing this drop off, so let's take a look. Comes in good.
Ooh.
It's nice seeing it in slow-mo.
Back wheels dropping down. And...
Yeah, to me, that looks pretty good. You don't, start going over the bars or anything like that, but what I would say is try and keep your hips lower to the rear tyre. So you can see when you take off, so both wheels are in the air, your feet go quite toes down because your hips are quite high above the saddle, and then you risk sort of hovering off your pedals. If you're on flat pedals, it does look like you are. So try and stay lower to the rear tyre and your feet will stay heel down and you're more likely to stay on pedals as well.
Yeah, what that guy said. You know what he's talking about. If you'd like to see some more videos from GMBN, then why don't you click just here to see my Hacks and Bodges special, where you can improve your bike for virtually nothing.
And if you click over here, that'll take you through to some suspension jargon explained with a Fox technician.
Yeah, you can click on that logo to subscribe, and you can give us some thumbs up likes. And don't forget to give us some questions for our next week's Ask GMBN.
Leave them down below and send your videos to ask@gmbn.com.